Bhubaneswar, Odisha. At a time when the IT industry in Odisha was still nascent, Priyadarshi recognized the potential of technology to transform governance and impact a billion lives. As an elected leader in the NESCOM's Domestic Council and active member of CIR, Confederation of Indian Industries, and other various industry bodies, Priyadarshi actively pursues policy needs for the advancement of IT industry ecosystem. So, our topic for today is redefining digital workplace. So, to start with, I want to ask you, Ram, what was the learning from the pandemic about workplace of future?
Well, thank you, Deepak, for the invite. The biggest, of course, is the kind of a paradigm shift that we had in the way that we work. Physical and digital has become Phygital. And that's a new word that has come in place. I think it is there in already in Oxford. So the Phygital world has completely changed the way that we probably used to work. And if I have to go back to time, probably 100 years back, when worker and the workplace has to be in the same place. This all started probably after World War II. So, and we've been actually following it for many, many years. And everybody used to come, when we started our industry, never thought that people can work from home, or people can work from anywhere. Of course they can, provided you are able to outsource and get the job done. So,
can I check what is happening?
Had actually started with the proliferation of internet and the technology. Not that it was not there, but then the pandemic actually made the changes. Now this is one part of probably embracing the new way of doing things, and not that you don't have. It's not only related to the services sector, but even for manufacturing, with the digital twin that is coming into place, you can always do even manufacturing sitting in Japan or sitting in India, and you can manufacture things in Germany. So this is one part of it. The other part of the change or the change that we have seen is the gig workforce that has come in place. So we all know about the gig economy that is building very rapidly, or that is a shift in the way things have happened in the past. And Niti Aayog comes with a number, and an astonishing number that in India, of course, where everybody wants to have a security in a kind of a job, wherein more and more people are actually dropping out and they are kind of becoming freelancer. As of today, as I speak, we have roughly probably 10 million people who are in the freelancer community, particularly in the tech. And Niti Aayog predicts that by 2027, it will become something around 50 million people in India who will be working in this gig economy. So we all need to embrace and we need to be relevant with the time. So I feel that this digital Phygital as something that has completely changed the way that we work. Maybe today you invited me in person, right? Maybe next time when we are meeting, there will be a avatar of me, like a product avatar of me probably doing the needful. Right? So that's the change.
Wonderful. We are talking about metaverse. Okay. How do we improve today's Phygital workplaces? What are the areas you can focus on?
Phygital, of course, technology comes as the first player, but then apart from technology, the channel of communication, because you are not meeting people in person, right? You are not meeting. There is a lot of challenges that we need to overcome, and is in technology, probably the channel of communication, and of course the people who are important. Now within technology there are few things which needs to be probably catered to. Number one probably is cyber security. One of my previous speakers, I heard him speaking. So cyber security is something that more and more people are working from different places. We will have these challenges on how do you actually, because as Gartner says, 45% of the companies in another 2-3 years, by 2025, will be attacked. and they have to protect themselves. So that is something that comes number one. Number two is the adaptation of cloud, because when I started industry, cloud was over there, and in last 10 years, the way things have surged, as market and markets research statistics says, right now the cloud, the size of the market is something around $500 billion, and it's going to touch by 2027 to $1,500 billion. So that's the kind of a change that the Phygital world is probably going to do. And when you talk about you know about Newman and the WeWork culture that has come in the co-working space, that is something that we will see a great rise in. And I think if I remember the name of the WeWork founder, who was way before the time before pandemic happened, when we started this WeWork, and it is within the real estate industry, he created a real estate industry which is so successful, and the pandemic actually has taken the best out of it. So we will see that this co-working culture actually growing pretty fast. Today when you ask about hiring somebody, right? We are not really limited with this digital world to hire people at Bhubaneswar. We don't need to actually. So cities have become borderless, the state has become borderless, country, continent, everything has become borderless. I work with a partner of mine, right? He is sitting in US and employs people in Mozambique all the way, and he's never seen them. This is how things have changed. And for a lot of people, and it is only possible in this digital world that you can hire, because access to talent has always been a problem in a particular city. So whether it is Bangalore or Bhubaneswar or Noida, right, talent has been a problem, and people do become very comfortable when they are in their hometown. So why not create that kind of an opportunity? I'm not a great believer that people should sit at home and work, because there is a lot of fatigue there. But the WeWork culture actually has helped, and if you will be surprised to know that as of today as we speak, there is something around a million square foot of space that has been created in India alone. And as we are seeing that 50 million square foot of space in WeWork setup is going to be created. So that is something that I see from a technology point of view. And one most important part is that the adaptation. We have to be relevant with the time. And the relevancy of the time is that when you work in your office setup, when you are there in your land setup, you have your firewalls to protect, you have a lot of things to protect. But when you are working from a remote place, your IT systems has to be, your constant investment on IT that has to happen. Second, apart from technology, I feel channel of communication, because communication will become very blurred. Now, we all in our workspace, there are different teams who are using WhatsApp for communication, because that is instant, that's become a part of life, part of business, or a Slack, or a Microsoft Teams, or whatever. Now it is very important for institutions or company to have one line of communication. I mean, whether you are a Microsoft Teams company, or you are a WhatsApp business company, or a Notion company, there are many such channels that are open up. Because then it will not confuse, and it has to be very tightly integrated with your CRM and ERPs. There is no other choice. So that communication channel has to be probably is something which has to be established in this digital world. And third, of course, is people, because culture will take a hit, and that is for sure. Because you would not have. Because I always feel that across the table, in the office, it is a melting point of ideas. Now, over VCs, over Zoom, it will become challenging. So how do you actually keep people motivated? How do you ensure that your company's DNA or the culture is actually transformed? So there also technology comes into play, because you will use immersive technology, and you will use different technologies. Metaverse is a cocktail of everything, right? So we will see that the users of Metaverse probably becoming more and more active, like using AR, VR, and other things. So this is what I feel that
So you are a successful entrepreneur and lead a tech company as the CEO. What is is your advice to tech startups trying to transform their workplaces?
So I'm sure someday I will also have tech startup. So things are very different than what it used to be 25 years back to now. I think investment in governance in these times is very important because you don't have people sitting across the table. You can't really do the SOPs or the governance that you make. So the other day I was there in the keynote speaker in one of these MSME forum, and I was trying to share my thoughts on how governance has become more so important. How it used to be. You go to US today and you will see that a company, a startup, if it is in a 5 people company, the role definition of a 5 people company and how they will be 50 and how they will become 500 and 5,000, it remains the same. In India, that is something that we are learning, we are evolving, the new young generation are learning it very fast, wherein boardroom or the corporate governance is one of the key factors. And in this digital world, corporate governance is going to be extremely difficult. How do you actually, make sure that a person sitting in, say, in Uttar Pradesh or in Jammu Kashmir or Vietnam or wherever it is, right? How are you going to do it? So that is one that I have my advice for the startups. That, you have to be very, very sensitive towards the company culture, and you have to use technology for it. Secondly, I think upskilling and reskilling is also going to be a very challenging part, which the startups have to actually, make sure there is something within the startup DNA where upskilling and reskilling, because there are a lot of tutorials that are available, so they need to invest into it and ensure that the reskilling and upskilling is constantly happening. And thirdly, I spoke about adaptation of cloud, which is from the day one it has to happen, and to take care of cyber security because because the cost of data today is going to increase many folds. We know what is GDPR in the West, and now that data protection bill which is getting tabled in the parliament, of course it's a very obnoxious number which I am contesting from the association side. You can't really penalize any company for data breach for 500 crores. It's not possible. Imagine a startup being, something goes wrong. However, there is an opportunity to it, but at the same time, one needs to be very, very careful and probably invest other than, whatever that you are doing, whether you are a tech startup or you are any other startup. So, culture is something which is very important, and that has to be made sure that it goes.
So, you have been driving so many government projects in the state, out of the state, in the country, out of the country also. Can you name 3 pet projects what you have implemented? It's a difficult question.
Not a difficult one, because we call ourselves as a GovTech company, so we proudly say that we touch billion lives. Our CSM tech software transacts millions of dollars in a year, probably per day also I can say. So one of the most difficult projects has been a project on an auction system. Give me an opportunity in India to run an auction system for any auction, right? Probably we would not do because it's a very risky business. Now, we run for 9 countries in the east of Africa where tea is auctioned from the Mombasa port. And it is an open cry method where CSM tech software runs on a daily basis. On a daily basis, there are millions of dollars that get transacted. It's a very tricky project. You have to be on your toes all the time and probably make sure that things are working 24/7. Similarly, I think one project that we have done here in our state. Well, if you remember when we passed class 10th or class 12th in the state, we used to go to different colleges to get different prospectus and then fill it up. I put it in BJP college, Ravinsha college, PM per se, and then wait for everybody's result to come out. So everybody will come out with different result. You want to study in BJP, but then Ravinsha has come out as the first, and you are there in your merit list. So you go take admission there. Then after a few days on the second selection or on the third selection, BJP comes out and where your name comes. So you go to the Ravinsha college, apply for a transfer, get, all the money is burnt and all. And I also remember, right, there were a lot of my relatives or friends who used to call from south of Odisha or north of Odisha, that ticket, prospectus, and all those things that used to happen. It used to be it used to be a lot of anxiety, it is really non-transparent a process, we all know about it. So, today, 2,500 colleges in Odisha have a single common application, wherein roughly around 8 lakh children get admission. It's a completely paperless, transparent on a single date, right? They don't have to spend, they have to spend 250 rupees that the government takes, and they do it online. Now, it's a very tricky business because after all it is the career of the student. And every year the court cases used to be something around 2,000 to 2,500. Because if I do not get admission in BJP college, right, I'll go and find that, uska kyun jata, uska kyun kam, and all those things. And court has been always very lenient. They without, because they have to support the child, right, they keep on asking that, they keep on asking the government that seat badha. So without understanding that staff imposition, teachers, labs, nothing is there but then seat badha. So that used to create a lot of, imbalance in the entire setup. So this system is running for the last 12 years. We run the same system in this state. We run the same system in Bihar. We run the same system in Chhattisgarh also. So these are very tricky projects because this is to do with, and since then there is not a single court case that has happened. So these are certain key projects.
A lot of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nanu, for joining the 5 session. Thank you very much.